Hey everybody, this is DM Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. I want to give you a game overview of Hero Realms real quick. I had mentioned this in a brief live video that I did on the Tabletop Crafters Guild recently, and I said that I would film a video and show you how the game works. Now, normally Hero Realms is a multiplayer game. You play versus opponents, and it comes in this box, and it's very inexpensive to play. But White Wizard Games also sells campaigns. This one's called the Ruin of Thandar campaign. You can play this with multiple players, but you can also play it solo, which is what I really enjoy doing. What I've got here, let me explain the setup. So this is the boss that I'm going to be playing. The first game in the campaign book is actually a tavern fight. It's called Chapter 1, Bar Fight. And the rule book tells you how to set up the deck and things like that. So basically, I have picked, I'm going to start the campaign, and I'm going to be going up against enthralled regulars. This is the monster, okay? The boss. And I'll explain how this works, the card works as the game progresses. The boss has its own deck. This deck I have shuffled and it made up according to the rules. There's certain cards that are sort of shuffled in there and then divvied out. This is the market deck, and the market will always have 5 cards to purchase for gold. The price is in the upper right corner. Market cards also have what they call ally colors. There's red, yellow, green, and blue. So 2 cards with this red symbol side by side, they would be allies. And that comes into play sometimes because ally abilities will, if you see the symbol, it'll tell you if you have an ally, you get to do something else. So sometimes it's a nice strategy to focus on buying cards of the same faction. Now, I'm going to be playing the fighter for this game. The fighter has a deck, which is mostly at the beginning. It's very small. It has a lot of gold in here and some fighting weapons. But as I buy cards from the market, they're added into this deck. This deck is shuffled, and I'm always drawing 5 cards. When I run out of cards, I shuffle the discard deck and draw again. So as these cards are purchased and put in here, they'll randomly show up when I deal myself 5 cards. This is the health track for the boss. The boss starts with 50, which this card goes 50, 40, 70, 60, and then when you get down to 40, you flip it over to 30, 20, 10s. This is a 0 to 9 card, so I'll put it at 50, where the 0 is visible, and that just means 50. So if he had 51, I would move it up to where the 1 is showing, 51. My hero starts with 60, so I've got it set at 60 with a 0 visible, so 60 health. And he starts with a couple special abilities automatically. Some of the abilities can be used over and over. Some are one-time abilities. So let me go ahead and show you how the game works. We'll play through the first scenario, and basically just shuffle my deck a little bit. These cards are sleeved, so they don't shuffle so well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you're going to have a discard deck. The boss is going to have a discard deck, and then there's one additional deck that will be over here called the sacrifice deck, and I'll explain that if it comes into play or at the end of the game. All right, I drew 1 gold, 2 gold, 3 gold, 4 gold, 5, 6. I have no weapons, and that's okay because you start with more gold than you do weapons, so this makes sense. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 gold. Ooh, I like this one. This is the command option. When I play it, I will get 2 gold, do 3 damage, and gain 4 health. Plus, I get to draw a card. So it's like getting to draw a free card from your deck. Now, the first time you buy a card, you can't use it. It goes into your discard pile along with any gold you spent. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I spent my gold. I only have 1 gold left, but don't get rid of it yet because I need to refresh the market, and there might be a 1. It's not, but there is a 1 here called Death Touch, 1 gold. And when I play it, I'll do 2 damage, and it says you may sacrifice a card in your hand or discard pile. That's a nice ability because sometimes you get a card in your hand that's just, you want to get rid of it. You don't want it coming back into your shuffled deck. So sometimes cards will give you the ability to get rid of something, and that's when it will go into the sacrifice deck. And you'll also see here, if I have another red card in play, I can do 2 additional damage. So it's a cheap, for one gold doing 2 damage, I'll take it. Refresh the deck, and let me make sure there's nothing else I can do. There are some things I can do. The fighter has this thing called Crushing Blow. You'll notice the trash can image. This means it can be sacrificed at any time. I'll never get it back during this game, but it does 8 damage. I can't see any reason to hold this card for any reason, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'll put it in the sacrifice pile, and I'll do an immediate 8 damage, so he goes down to 42 points of health. Now this one right here, I can activate it, that little symbol, and pay 2 gold, not get 2 gold. I can activate and pay 2 gold to do 2 damage, but I don't have any more gold, so I cannot activate this. That is the end of my turn. It is now the boss's turn, so the first thing you do is you flip over a card. Oh, good, okay. So this is called a mastery card. There are 5 of these in there, yeah, 5. And depending on the monster, the boss you play, they will collect mastery cards, and when they get a certain number, you'll flip the card over, and their abilities get more powerful. This one needs 3. There's 3 little diamonds here. Some need 2, some need 5, so 3. So he's got 1, and so he's 1/3 of the way to leveling up. But the other thing this does, every card that you pull will have a colored dot in the upper right corner, which will tell you what to do. You consult the monster card. So blue, I consult this deck, and it says blue. 1 damage, okay, so I go down to 59. And it says stun your highest silver shield champion. There are 2 types of champions in the game. There are silver shield and black shield. They will have a value on them. When one comes up, I will take a moment and explain how that works, but just keep in mind that black shield guards, you must do damage to them before you can get through and do damage to the boss. Silver shield, you can choose. You can do damage to the silver shield guards, or you can direct your damage here. And you also, as a player, can collect markets. Like, for instance, here's one that is a 4 silver shield. So 4 points of damage would be done to get rid of this. The boss would have to do 4 points of damage for me to stun this. Stunning means you put it in your discard pile. And when I get a black shield guard, I will point that out to you. So that is the end of the boss phase. It is now my turn. I deal out 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I need to shuffle. You start with, depending on the class you choose. I chose Fighter. There's Wizard, Rogue, Cleric, and Ranger. Depending on the deck, some of the decks are bigger than others. The Fighter deck is pretty thin. So you do, the first hand you burn through pretty quick. So I've got 4. Here's a 5th card. Let's see what I've got. All right, so I've got a sword for damage. I have a shield bearer. Okay, there's your black shield. 3 points. He immediately goes beside me here, and he will do. He will take 3 points of damage before he's stunned and removed from the, put in my discard pile. But it means less damage to my fighter. What else do I have? I drew the axe, which does 2 points, and I have 2 gold. Now, I think there's a special ability here. Hold on. Okay, the throwing axe says, if playing this card would give you 7 or more combat this turn, you get to draw a free card from your draw pile. Now, right now, I'm only doing 5, 3, and 2, but I have my shoulder bash, which says if I activate and pay 2 gold, I get to add 2 points of damage. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the 2 gold, put it in my discard pile, and then now I'm doing 7 points of damage, and this card says I can draw an extra card. So you'll get to draw a free card. Not a big deal. I got 1 gold, and there's nothing on here that I can buy with 1 gold. So let me go ahead and do the damage, which is 5, 7. So 42 minus 7 is 35. So he goes down to 35. I just flipped the card over to the 30 and put it at 5. So he's down to 35 points. These are used. When your turn's over, you refresh any activated cards. Any gold that you have in your hand that it cannot be spent, it goes into the discard pile, and that is the end of my turn. All right, let us see what the enthralled regulars pull. Broken tables and chairs. This is a hazard. Your area is blocked off. You cannot fight, heal, or target outside your areas. You may expend one of your champions to clear this hazard. Well, it's not my turn, so I put this in front of me to indicate I cannot do any damage until this card is removed. Now, also notice it's got a blue dot. So the blue dot again was it does a damage to me, so I'm down to 58, and it stuns my highest silver shield champion. Well, I don't have a silver shield champion, so that doesn't hurt me. That is the end of the boss phase. My turn. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. I've got 1 gold, 2 gold, ruby, so I've got 2, 3, 4 gold, and I got my command card. So my command card gives me 2. I do 3 damage, and I get 4 healing. You can go above your normal health. So I started at 60. I'm at 58. 58 plus 4 will take me to 62. So you can magically go above your health. I also do 3 damage. I got Death Touch, which says it does 2. You may sacrifice a card in your hand or discard pile. I have nothing I want to discard. So far, my cards are somewhat valuable. So I will just take the damage there. So I'm going to do 5 points of damage. I'm not going to spend my gold this time to do the shoulder bash. So 5 points. He goes down to 30. And these go away. Actually, I've got the 2 gold. Sorry. 2, 4, 5, 6 gold. 6 gold will allow me to buy... Usually you want to buy the highest card you can, but not always. I like to do damaging cards, which this one's a great one. Elven Curse, it's an action. It'll do 6 damage. Target opponent must discard a card. Now, in this case, discard a card. The master doesn't really have anything to discard, so playing this would not do me any good, but still, it does a lot of damage, so I'm going to take that. And how much gold was that? That was 3 gold. So I'll take 3 gold away, which is these, and I still have 3 more gold. So I'm going to refresh the market and see if anything good comes up. 2 devotion cards, which are 4 healing. Draw a card, then discard a card. I like the Wolf Shaman. Might as well. It costs 2, and it'll do 2 damage, plus 1 for each ally. I cannot remember if I have any allies, but I'll go ahead and spend the 2 on that one. I still have 1 gold. Oh, by the way, before I could attack or anything, I need to deal with this hazard. The way I deal with the hazard is you may expend one of your champions. So I'll expend the shield bearer, which means he would not be able to protect me if there were damage that were done to me. But it still allows me to get rid of this. And so now I would have attacked and stuff like that. So now I have 1 gold left. And, oh yeah, Spark. Spark costs 1 gold, and it will do 3 damage. And again, target opponent must discard a card. I'm not playing an opponent who would have have redrawn their hand, but, we'll see. All right, so that is the end there. I refresh this guy, refresh the market, and it is now his turn. Crazed Bartender. This is a minion, and he's got 8 shield, which is really high. Thankfully, it's not a black shield, so I don't have to target him before I target the boss. But when he gets activated, he'll do 8 damage to me. This is not a good one. And I drew a green dot, so I reference here. Green says 2 damage. All right, so I'm down to 60. And I must discard a card. Well, I forgot to tell you, what I should have done was after I discarded, I should have drawn my next hand. So now he's playing a card and forcing me to discard. The bosses don't have a hand, so you don't do a discard action on that. So let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he plays that card. I have 5 in my hand. I have to discard one of these. They're all damage except for this gold, so I'm getting rid of the gold. And that's that. He did the damage. He has a shield in play, and that is the end of his turn. It is now my turn. I don't draw a 5th card. I already had my hand. So what I'm going to do is I've got Death Touch, which does 2. And it says you may sacrifice a card in your hand. I'm not going to do that. So I've got 2, 4, 7, 10. Now this one says I get +1 for each green. Here's a green. So I get another point, which does 11 damage. So 3, 6, 8, 10, +1 is 11 points of damage. I'm going to target this guy for 8 points to knock him out, because otherwise he would do 8 points to me. 3 points get through. This one's down to 27, like that. All right. So all my damage has been done. Was there any special abilities that I didn't do? Nope, that was it. Oh, I forgot. This one also does a bonus 2 because it has an ally card. See, I forgot. So I would do a 2 extra. So he's down to 25. These are discarded. I draw my next 5 cards, refresh everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is now the boss's turn. So draw a card. Charging Drunk. Remember, you're in a bar fight. By the way, these cards change depending on the scenario. So these are very specific cards for this very first scenario, which is the bar fights. They all have that theme. So I had the crazed bartender, and now here's a Charging Drunk. Charging Drunk is also a shield, silver. It does 4 damage, and I drew a red dot, and the red dot simply does 3 damage to me. So I'm down to 57. Since he played this guy, he'll go ahead and activate him and do 4 points of damage to me. So I'm down to 53. I totally forgot. And when he played that earlier, this one, he would have done 8 to me. So 53 minus 8 is 45. So I'm down to 45. So I apologize. I made a mistake there. So that is the end of his turn. This guy will refresh, and now it is my turn. I've got 2 gold, 3, 4, and I've got some nice damage here. I've got a throwing axe, which says 2, and it says if playing this card would give you 7 or more damage, you can draw another card. Well, I'm going to do 6 plus 2, so that's 8, so I get to draw another card, which gives me gold. I have no ally for green out right now, so I only do 8 damage. I need to buy a market card, so I'm going to go ahead and do the 8 damage. I'm gonna hit the Charging Drunk and take him out, which means 4 damage goes through, so he's down to 21. And now I got 4 gold to spend, and I'm gonna buy this Orc Grunt. He'll do 2 damage when activated, but he gives me 3 black shield. Remember, damage has to go to black shield guards first before it comes through to you. So I will put him down here. And I haven't been doing the damage against my black shield. I apologize. I'll start doing that. So that was 3 gold. I have 1 gold left. Actually, no, I have 2 gold left. Let me flip this over and see what I can. I'm going to buy that. This is Death Cultist, does 2 and another 3. So this one had to go in my discard pile, by the way. I will refresh. I spent this gold, and that is the end of my turn. So it's his turn. Another Charging Drunk. He will play him. He does 4 damage to me. 4 damage. I'm going to have him... I'm going to have my shield bearer will take the damage, and 1 point will get through to me. Just like that. And also, I drew a green, and the green says take 2 more damage. 1, 2. And I have to discard a card. So I've got 2. Let me shuffle these, and I'm going to have to discard something that I'm not going to like. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let me see what I have to discard. Damage, gold, damage, damage, gold. I'm going to get rid of the gold and hold on to that. So he did his damage. He made me discard a card. He will refresh this, and that is the end of the boss's turn. My turn. I only have 4 cards to play this turn, but I chose Command, Throwing Axe, Spark, and Ruby. So I have 4 gold, 5, 8 damage. Again, more than 7, I get to draw a card. Ah, nice. I drew an ally card. A lot of times these things stack, which is really nice. All right, he is a shield, so he'll come down here. When I activate him, he'll do 2 points of damage. So, and he also is a green. He has an ally, and his card says draw a card, so I get to draw another one, which does more damage. So let's go ahead and deal with damage. 3, 5, 8, plus the bonus of 10. 10. I do 12 plus 3 is 15 points of damage. That takes him down to 6 health. That was really good. So I burned this one. I activated this one. I used this one. I heal 4, so I go up to 46, and I've got 2 gold, 4 gold. 4 gold, and I will buy... I really would like to have bought that one. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and spend the 2 gold and activate the Shoulder Bash, which allows me to do 2 additional damage. So he's down to 4. This game is almost over. I refresh. I draw back up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip his card. He's got another mastery card. It is a red dot. Red says 3 damage to me, so I'll go down to 3. He will activate his Charging Drunk, which does 4 points, so I'm down to 39. Flip this over to 30, like so. Let's see, did the damage. He hasn't reached the mastery yet, and that is the end of his turn. See if I can finish him off. I can. I've got 6 points of damage right there, 4 gold. I'll go ahead and do the 6 damage. I'm bypassing the drunk, sending it straight to him. He has 4 health. He's down to 0. That wins the scenario for me. Now, in the rule book, it's really well done if you really get into it. There's a story. You read the story, do the setup, then read the story. It tells you how the bar fight happens, and it's a couple pages. It tells you play begins with the player who has the master's seat to the right. So if you have multiple players, it'll tell you which player gets to start, and then it'll say go to chapter 2. It's very much like a choose your own adventure book. You play chapter 2, which is what I just did, the conclusion. If all players are defeated, you lose the encounter, but you may try again. It's the start of it. Otherwise, if you reduce the master's health to 0, you win the encounter, read the text below, and collect your reward. So there'll be a little conclusion to the story. It'll tell you how you can pull reward cards out of the Ruin of Thandar deck. It comes with like level up cards and things like that. And then it will tell you where to go. Go to the next encounter, chapter 3. You flip over to chapter 3. It tells you again, story, how to set up the deck, who you're going to be fighting. And again, it's a very small little book, but it's very fun. It has a lot of different endings to it. There are, I think, a total of 5 or 6, maybe more than that, of the boss monsters to fight. And again, I think sometimes they return and they're higher level and things like that. So I hope you liked this. It's a really fun game to play. About all I can tell you is that by itself, the Hero Realms game is very fun to play, like 1 versus 1 or 1 versus all, and it can play up to 5 players. But the campaign deck was just so fun to buy, and yeah, there are 5. So there they are, the 5 bosses, major bosses that you will fight. And again, it comes with a rule book and all the cards, the bonus cards that you'll need to play the campaign. The only other thing you will need is you will need to buy at least one of the class decks. And again, there's Fighter, Wizard, Cleric, Thief, and Ranger. I have all 5. I just wanted to show you. Here's the Wizard deck. Each of the class decks comes with a picture card which tells you the starting health, a health tracker cards, and then a custom deck with special abilities and things like this wizard can cast Fireball and has a staff and a cat familiar. Where is it? There it is, a cat familiar. And all the class decks are really fun to play. I've played them all, and I really don't have a favorite. It just depends on what you want out of the game. So there you go. That is the Ruin of Thandar. That is Scenario 1. And you can see that it could have gone south on me very quickly. Instead of drawing these mastery cards, he's got some pretty powerful things in here that could start delivering damage very early in the game, plus some black shields that are very hard to get through. So I got very lucky in the in the shuffling, so it doesn't always go your way. All right, if you have any questions, post them below in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. I will also put a link to all of these things, the basic game, the campaign game, the class decks, and stuff like that if you're interested in playing the game. But it's a fun solo game, and you should definitely give it a try. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back at sometime in the near future with another playthrough game.